and welcome back to the third lecture of C programming. So in this part of the lecture we are going to continue talking about the topics of the lecture, and we will talk in this lecture about constants and how to create constants and what's the meaning of constant in C programming. Also, we will talk about converting from one type of storage to another type of storage. For example, how to convert from integer data type to float data type, how to convert from float to short, and so on for between different data types. So let's start. Maybe you remember last time we talked about strings and how we can define strings and how we can print strings. Also how to read the strings from the keyboard. So in this lecture we are going to continue and talk about constant, how to define constants. So if you see here we have here a preprocessor directive, preprocessing directive, something like sharp define. And in this one is a command to tell the compiler, I want to define a constant value. So what is the meaning of constant value? Constant value means some value which we assign to a storage and then we don't change it, okay? So I define some value and then give this value, and then later in the software I use this value, but I don't want to change it anymore in the software. So something like, for example, in math, you remember, in math we have some constant value pi, okay? So this one is a constant value. Also in sometimes in physics or in math equations, you will have some constant value, and this value never change, just same all the time, and you add it to the equation. Now you might ask, okay, do we use constant only for math and for physics? No. We use it usually to define some value in the software, and then later we want to use this value, but we want to be sure the software will never change this value, okay? There are many cases in programming where we define some values and we don't want to change those values, okay? We want to use them all the time, but I don't want to change them, okay? So the way to define constant value, there are two ways we will learn in this lecture. The first way is to use this one, the symbol sharp, and then define keyword. This is a keyword, or we call it a pre-processing directive of from C language. And this one, we will use it with this one together to say I want to define constant. And then after that, I will put the name of the constant. So this one here is the name of the constant, pi, okay? And then after that, what is the value assigned to this constant? So here the constant is assigned this value, okay? And then after that, the interesting thing here, I told you last time, every sentence you must put semicolon. But in the case of the pre-processing directive define, we don't add semicolon, no semicolon, okay? So this is one of the few cases where we don't put semicolon, okay? So this is a constant. So here we have this one is a constant, and this constant is a float constant. Maybe you will ask, do I need to define the data type of this constant? For example, it's a float because this number is a float number, or double. Do I need? No, you don't need to do that. So only you will just put the name and the value. That's it, okay? And another one here, for example, how to define constant character. So you put the name of the constant, it's a CH, and then the value is a character, okay? And then here is another one, define string constant. So I say define, and here is the name of the constant, okay? And then after that, the value is Huey Freeman. Now, what the compiler will do, the compiler, in the case of this constant, wherever you are using this constant, the compiler will go and replace this constant by the value you give here, okay? And another one here is, for example, integer constant, like for example, age and 19, okay? Another one is to define constant is you can define constant to do something we call it macro function, okay? Macro function. Okay, so this is macro function is a concept where you will give some name like a print. You say this is a name, and then this name receives some value. Okay, receives some value, and in this value, when you give this value, it will assign this value inside this sentence. Okay, I will let this one more clear when I show you one example. So here is here is one example. I will okay, let's before this example, let's go to, for example, here, and okay, here how we can define directives. We define same like what we have here, directive to make scanf work. We will define another directive. Now I will say here, for example, define, and then after that I say, for example, name. This is the constant value, and say, for example, this one will be for example, John. Okay, and another one, for example, define, and then I say college. Okay, and this one, for example, computer engineering. Okay, so this is how I define. There is no semicolon as you see here. Okay, so those are constant values. And then after that, this is how, and also you can define okay, you say define, and then here, for example, age, for example, and this one age will be 20. Okay, so the age is 20. And another one I can define, so far I define a string, and then I will define one integer, and then after that I can say define, and for example, print. Okay, print, and then this print will receive some value. Okay, receive some value, and this one will use what? Call print f. It will call this function print f, and it will print what? The value, this value, or for example, this one is for example, digit value, and this, it will be here, for example, modular d. This is digit value, and then a new line, for example, a new line. Okay, the digit value is, and we have modular, for example, d. Okay, like this. So this, and maybe after that I will make a new line here. New line. Okay, so this is the three. So I define 4 now here. So let's see how we can use them. How we use all of these 4 constants. So the first constant, for example, here I will say print f. Okay, and then I will say here, for example, okay, my name is, and then modular s, means string, print a string, and then a new line, and then this one here I will say name. Okay, so I will say here name. I use name here. Okay, so this is the name from up. Okay, then I will print after that, print f, and I will say here, for example, I study. Okay, I study at, and then modular s, and then after that maybe also new line, and then I will say I study at, and then I will put the constant college. Okay, then last one, how? Okay, age. Also, for example, age. How to use age? We can say here, for example, print. We will use this one, this constant. Okay, so this constant, I will say print. Okay, and I will, this one like this, a print. You see, even the color is same. Okay, so this is a print. This one here is different. This one here is just value, but now this one is a variable name or constant name, but it receives some value here. You need to give some value here. Okay, and whatever the value you have here, this value, this whatever the value you get here, this print digits value will go and will have this printf sentence, and whatever the digit value will be here. By the way, I forgot to put. Okay, I forgot to put here comma, for example, and I will say here digit value. Digit value. Okay, so like this. So whatever digit value comes, so this value come here, and then it will be printed here, okay, as a digit. Okay, so let's see. I will say print, and then I will put here age. So age is this one. Age is a 20. So 20 will arrive to this guy. And from here, it will go to this sentence. Print, it will execute this sentence. So the compiler will do what? The compiler will replace this one by, it will replace this one by what? It will replace it by this one. So it will replace it. You say, okay, print, that means you replace it by this one. And then, because you have digit value here, digit value replaced by age. Age is replaced by 20, so that this one will be 20 here. So this will be the sentence in the compiler. So the compiler will replace this one by this one. Okay, so let's run and see if this one do whatever we want or not. So let's execute. Okay, my name is John and I study at computer engineering. That's good. The digit value is 20. You see, the digit value is 20. So this is what we are expecting from this software. Okay, so yes, this is how you can use these constant values. Okay, so let's continue. Now let's see this example here. In this example, we have here constant pi, and we have a print now. This print receives two values. Look here, this macro function receives two values, one value x and one value y. That means if you want to use this print, you must give two values here. And those two values will go to this function, okay, to this one. So this one will be print and so on, okay, other things. So it will be print, and here you will have one value, two value, and those two values are coming from the this x and y. Okay, so now if we use a print, let's search if there is a print. Here is it. You see print here, print circum and area. Okay, circumferences and also area of the this is I think for circle. Yeah, it's for circle. So you see here, this is the how you can call the print. So the print will receive two values. These two values will go here and here, and then those two values will go here and here. Okay, so this is, let's see this code, how we can execute this code. Okay, here is the code. The code say I define some float values, area, circum, radius. So there are three float numbers, and then I will ask scanf, and then I will say what's the radius of your pizza. Okay, so it will say here this one. So we define pi, which is here. As you see, there is error here. So we define pi, and we give value for pi. So this is the value. Okay, and then there is also here you have, so what is the radius of your pizza, and then you read one float number and you put this one to the radius, and then you calculate this equation. Okay, and this one will be the area, and then you have the circum here. This is the variable equal pi with the radius. This is the equation. So this one equal 2 times pi constant times radius. Okay, and then we print the output. So you say your basic pizza parameters are as follows, and then this one here, print, this one will be print is a constant macro function. So print, we will have print this situation. So this one is a print. I need to change this one, so it has two values, as you see here, two values. So I will put x and y, and then this one, x and y, will go to this print function. Okay, so here it will be this output. So x y, which will be here, this one x and this one will be y. So this one exactly will be replaced by like this. It will be this one, it will be print. This one will be replaced by the compiler by print, and this x will be this one, and this will be the y value. This one will be replaced like this. So when I call this print, it will call this print outside, and then the circum here will go to x and area will go to y, and it will be inside this one. So this is what will be printed. Okay, so let's execute this one and see what is the output of this one. Yeah, so this one here is a print capital letter, and this one is a small letter. So this will show some error. So let's replace it, and now, yeah, it's okay now. Okay, here we go. So this is the output. So it will ask me the same, like, what is the radius of your pizza? So I will say, for example, 5.2. Okay, this is the radius, and it will calculate for your basic pizza parameter are as follows. And if you see here, it will print this one, this message. Okay, circumference equal this value. This value is how coming? This is coming from this equation. Okay, so from the 2 times pi times radius, and the area will be coming from this one, pi times radius time radius. Okay, so this is the area of the circle. As you know, the circle area, this one here, the circle area is equal pi r square. This is the radius of the area, so it will be like this, pi times r, which is r square. Okay, so and this one, the circumference will be equal to pi and r, this one. Okay, so this is the equation of this one, which I convert here in printing like this. Okay, even we can go farther, and we can for example say here we can convert, for example, this one, the circum here, I can make it as a constant up there, and it's equal some, but this one we cannot make it as a constant because this radius will change over time. Okay, so this is will not be so let's define something I would like to convert this one to some other way. So I can delete this one. So for example, I would like to play a little bit with this example. So I will say here define. Okay, let's see, define, because this one is equation, as you see here. This is equation, so I can convert this equation here. For example, ci, usually the constant will be capital letter, so cr r cum, this is the constant, and I will make it like macro function. So this one receives some r, mean radius. It will, because as you see here, the circum depends on radius is the changing value, and this one is constant, this one is constant, only changing is radius. So I say r, and then this one will retain for me this equation. So this will retain for me the value like this, 2 times pi times 2 times pi times radius, and this one will be the retained value. So let's try and see what is this one will do. Here what we will have, so this the circum r, this one I can use it here. For example, I will say circum. Okay, this is small letter, this is different. As you know, variable, if it's capital letter or small letter, it's totally different. So this one is variable, this one is totally different thing. Okay, because this is capital and that one is a small. So this one circum is equal, and then I will put this one like this, and then I will put here radius. Okay, so the radius will go here. So now what will happen here in this case, the circum, this is a function, like a macro function. This one I will give radius, and it will return for me this value. Okay, so it's same to return like this one. Okay, so it will return the circum value, and then this circum value will be given to the other function print. Okay, so let's see if this one will work fine or not. Yes, it worked fine. So I will put the same thing, 5.2 okay? And you see the values are okay, same thing, okay? So this is the circumferences, and this one is the area, okay? So this is, that means I can convert any equation, not only print, I cannot not only use a print, I can say, if you call this one, replace this one with this one, okay? So here, I should say this one is R here. Yeah, so this one again, let's execute this one because R will go inside here. Okay, so let's execute this one more time. Okay, and say 5.2. Okay, 5.2, and you see here it's same results. Okay, yeah. So why? Because R will go in the equation here, and then this one is the return value. So this one, this value will replace this one. So this one exactly, this one will be what? This one will be 2 times, okay, it will be like this, replaced by the compiler 2, and because radius will go to R, so that means radius will be here. Okay, so this is how this one is working. Okay. Okay, so this is about a constant using the preprocessor directive define. Okay, now let's go back to our example. So this is the example. Now we can try the same example, but we will try to make a constant in different way. So we know how to make it constant using define. There is another way to create constant using const. Const is to create constant. So you will say, here is a variable pi, and it's equal this one. So I can delete this one. Okay, delete the pi here, the constant, and convert it by const float pi equals something. Okay, so let's change this one. Now, so for example, we have constant here, this one, and we have constant here, this one. So any constant we can convert it by another. So I will convert all the constants here, but also we have pi here. So I will convert all the constant value. But how about this one? Can I convert this one to constant value? No. This one you cannot use const keyword. So let's convert one by one. So I will say here constant name, for example, name, and this one will be how many characters? For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's make it 5 characters, and this one equal John. Okay, so this is the first constant I will change. So okay, this is the first constant. So this is for name. Now name here and name it. So that means I can delete this one now. Okay, no need for this one. Okay, here is name. Now let's go college. College will be exactly the same. So I have here constant and then college. I see, I need to put the data type, sorry. So this one, constant character array, okay, equal this one. And then constant character array, name, for example, this one, college. Okay, and this one is the size of this one. I can make it like, for example, 20 characters. And this one equal this one, computer engineering, okay. So this is how you can make constant college. Okay, and now I make this one comment. So I'm going one by one. Age. So if you want, have constant age. Okay, so let's here say constant integer. Age is number. So I say constant integer age equal 20. Okay, so here's it. And now I will hide this one. And then how about pi? So let's go to pi. Pi is a float number. So I will say here constant float. Okay, constant float, this one is pi equal. And by the way, I really recommend you, I'm doing here something not correct 100%. This is, I make this one small letter. Usually the constant must be capital letter, okay? So I really recommend you as a practice all the time, use capital letter for the constant. So college, okay, like this. And age, it will be capital letter. So all the time, make the constant capital letter. Pi equal, and this is the value 3.14159. Okay, so this is, and now because this constant is just inside the main function, you put semicolon, semicolon, semicolon. Okay, don't forget this one. And now let's hide this one. Now, how about this one? Can I make this one? No, you cannot. This one is a constant function or macro function. This one different. This one you cannot make it like this, okay? Only the single value like value, but this one is a statement. It's a programming statement. This one is a programming expression, okay? So this one is not a single value. So in this case, you need to keep it in the same as it is here. But for the single value, for example, this is just one string, this is one string, this is one value, this is one value. In this case, you can convert it to constant inside the programming, inside the main function. Can I put this constant outside of the main function? The answer is no, you cannot. Only if you want to put the constant outside of the function, outside of the main, in this case you will make define aged one, like this, outside, using define, okay? So use define, you can define outside of the main. But if you use constant, you must define it inside the main function, okay? Okay, so this is the same example, but we can remove the pi from here and use it inside here. That's fine, okay? And the software will run fine without any problem. So let's see here if we run, and it will be okay. Yeah, everything will be okay. And then here is it 5.2, everything will work fine. Okay, so as you see here. Okay, let's back again to continue the yeah, this one we just you remember last lecture we talked about the modular operators for the printf. Here is I just wanted to let you know those to remember them. I just listed them here in the I already put some link in the last lecture to click and see all type of modular, but here are the most important one, and we already talked about them last lecture. Okay, this is how to read scanf and how to read some string to print some read some string from the keyboard, and this one how to read some digits. So this one you already know. For the string you don't put and. For the variable, single variable, not like integer or float or double, you put and here with the variable when you are making scanf. But for the string you don't put and. Okay, remember this one. This one is exercise for you to find the 12 error, and I will put we call it video lecture exercise, and that video lecture assignment you will list for me. You will submit some file which tell me as a table, you will tell me what are the errors available in this line. So you will say, for example, line number 5 or line number, whatever the line number, and you will tell me what is the error and how to fix the error. Okay, so I will make assignment for this video to be sure that you are watching this video. Okay, the last topic for today is the casting or converting from one data type to another data type. So this kind of thing, we call it conversion. So for example, let's see some example and then talk about the conversion. So for example, imagine we have here, for example, integer, okay, value 1 and value 2, and then also a result. Okay, so imagine we have this okay, result. Okay, so we have this kind of situation, and then we will print, for example, print f and say, for example, here I will say insert first value. Okay, and then after that I will do scanf. I will read 1 digits, okay, modular d, and this one will be going to the value will go to value 1. Okay, and then I will do the same thing. So I will copy this one and I will okay, so I'm repeating the same thing. Insert the second value, and then I will say value number 2, and then I will say after that I will say the division result is, and I will say here the division. I will do some division. So I will say result equal, for example, value 1 divided by value 2. Okay, this is the math, value divided another value. And this one, the result, okay, maybe I will print this one after. Okay, the division result is, and then I will put here modular, for example, D, and this one will be a result. Okay, so this is the software. So our software is very simple. I receive two values from the user and then divide these values and print the division. Okay, so let's see this one. Okay, insert the first value. So I will insert, for example, 5, and the second value will be 2, and then the result will be here 2, which is wrong. 5 divided 2 is equal to 2.5. Okay, so why this one is 2 here? Because the result is integer. The result is integer. Okay, this is one reason. So okay, you say okay, because there is a 0.5, maybe 5 point, so this one will be 2.5. So how about if I make here like this, float result. So I will make a result as a float. Okay, and then I will just put like this. So this one will solve the problem. Let's see. Okay, I will run the software one more time and see if this one will work or not. Okay, so let's see here. I will say 5 divide by 2 and see the result. The result division is 0. Okay, so this is the division results. So it seems like there is something wrong here. Okay, there is some problem in the application. It does not calculate well. Okay, it does not calculate well. So how we can solve this problem? To solve this problem, I need to convert this one, because this one is integer and this one is integer. I need to convert this one to a float, and the result of the float division will be float value. Okay, so this is how things will happen. So I need to convert this one from integer to float. Float means point. Why? Because I want to get some value dot some value. Okay, so in this case, how I can convert this one to float? So we do something we call it casting. Casting means convert the data type of this value. So this one I want to convert to float. So I can do so like this, float. So please convert for me this value to float. And I will do, because the float divided by float will give me float. So I will say this one float and this one is a float. Convert this one, whatever the value you read as integer, convert it to float, and whatever the value you receive as integer, convert it to float, and put the result here in the float. Okay, because this one is a float. Okay, and this is one thing. Another thing, I need to put this one as float. Okay, don't forget about this one. Okay, now we got 0 here. We got 0 in the output because it was, this one was digit, but now we make it as a float. Okay, you say okay, about a float, and how about if I don't put this one again, don't put this one, and then just say okay, print this one as a float. Let's see what will happen. So integer, and the result is a float, and I print a float. So let's see what will happen here. Okay, 5 divided by 2, and the result is 2. Oh, still not correct. Okay, still, okay, the result now is a float number, but it's 2, but where is the 0.5? The 0.5 is missing because you make the division between integer and integer. The result will be integer. So this is integer, and this is integer. The result will be integer, and that integer will be go to the float number. So that will be okay. So how to solve this problem? To solve this problem, I will tell you, we do same like I told you. I need to convert this one to float, and I need in this equation, and I convert this value 2 to float. Okay, and now we convert this one to float. Whatever the value is coming, for example, this one 5, it will be 5.0. And then this one is 2, it will be 2.0. And the division, so this is a float. Float, result will be correct float. But this one is integer, and this one is integer. The result, or to convert this integer to float, the point will disappear. The 0.5 will just ignored by the division operation. So now let's see here, 5 divide by 2. So 5, the 5 here will go to this one. And now it will be 5.0. And then down, let's go to the next one. 2 will go here and it will be 2.0. And then click enter. After this one, I click enter and now it's correct, 2.5. Okay, so this what we call it converting. So this operation between the brackets, for the any variable between the brackets, you put this one, we call this one casting. We call this one casting, mean converting. Okay, converting. Okay, so casting, or we call this one converting. Okay, but the most famous is casting. Okay, so this one is a casting and this one is a casting. When we use casting when we are doing some math operation, when we do some math operation and the result of the math operation will go to the different data type. So when I'm doing something for different data type, in this case I need to convert the right side of the equal. So the right side must be same data type like the left side of the assignment or the equal. Okay, so now this one is a float, this one must be float. Okay, now you might ask, okay, do I need to convert both of them? How about if I just convert one of them? Is it okay? The answer is yes. If you convert just one of them, not both, so just one of them to float, this is okay also. This is okay. So convert both or convert one, it's okay. So let's run again and see the casting. So here is it, 5 divide by 2 and the result is 2.5. Okay, so this is okay, this is correct. So when you are doing some math operation, I want to say here, you must be sure this side data type is same like this side data type. One more time, this side, the right side of the equal, the right side data type is exactly the same like the left side data type. If they are not equal, the result will be not correct. Okay, so this is what we call it conversion. Okay, so this is the topic here. So we can, when we have dividing integer, the result will be integer division. But if you want to make it float division, you need to convert to float division. So let's see here. For example, this is example here. I have a float f1 and we have f2. All of them are float. And we have integer I and I2. And we have character C. Now, when I say here, float 1 go to I. Float 1 go to I. So what will be inside I1? What will be inside I1? When you give a float, look here, this is a float data type, and this one is integer data type. When you give a float to integer, now I here will have this value. It will have 1, 2, 3 only. How about 1.25 here after the bot? It will disappear. It will disappear. And if you print the values here, you will see this output. Now, how about this one? If I say I2, this is integer. I give this one to float 1. Float 1 is having this value, but I give it a new value, I2. So what will be inside F1? Inside F1 will be 1, 5 minus 150.0. Okay, it will be exactly like this inside F1. Okay, how about this one now? Let's see this one. Here I say F1 equal what? I2 divide by 100. So I2, let's see what is I2. I2 is 150. Divide by 100, usually 150 divide by 100 is equal what? It will be equal 1.5. But here it will be, so this one is integer and this one is integer. Both of them are integer. So in this case, F1 will be what? It will be, because this one is same like our example I showed you before. This one is integer, this one is integer, so this one will be only 1.0. Why? Because this one is integer and this one is integer. So it will only take the result will be just integer. And that integer will be just 1. Okay. Now let's see the second one here. Now here I have f2 equal I2. What is I2? 150. Divide by float data type here. This is a float. This is a float, not 100.0. This is a float. So this is float and this one is integer. So one of them is a float. One of them is a float. So that means this one will include 1.5. You can check this one by yourself. Why? Because this one is integer and this one is a float. So at least one of them should be float. At least. So this one is a float and this one is integer. Here, no. This one is integer and this one is integer. Integer, integer, the result is integer. So integer means it only will take 1. So f1 will equal 1. Here, integer and the float, the result will be float. The result of float, that means will be 1.5. Okay, now how about this one? This one here, okay, this is same, but invert. So I2 is now what? It's a float. So I2 mean this one will be 150. Sorry, I did not mention about the minus here. This one should be minus, and this one should be minus. So this is 150, because I converted to float, it will be like this, 0.0. Okay, so now it's a float. The float divide by 100, the result here will be what? Minus 1.5. Okay, because at least one of the right side is a float. Okay, yeah, so this is how, and also you can convert float inside the print. Okay, so this is, no, this is just will be printing. This is just printing to see the results. Okay, so yeah, here is the casting. How we can do the casting? Here is example of casting. So this one is a float, f2 is a float. So this one is integer converted to float. So the result will be float. Result will be float. Okay, how about this one? So let's see here. This one is integer. This one is integer. The result, even if this one is a float, yes, even this one is a float, I convert it to integer. So when I convert it to integer, it will be like this, 21 only. How about 0.99? It will disappear. This one is 29.55. Converted to integer, it will be just a 29. So the result will be like this. The result of this operation will be like this. How about this one? This one 6, integer. Converted to float, it will be 6.0. And then this is 4. 4, it will be, converted to float, it will be 4.0. 6 divided by 4, it will be 1.5. Because this is a float and this is a float. How about this one? Oh, this one is 6.0. At least one of these two operations, one of them is a float, and this one is integer, just 4. So the result will be float. So one float, one integer, the result will be float. Okay? Okay, so this is for casting. We will practice casting a lot during the software. We will see in the course. But for now, we will have these examples. Maybe later we can see more examples. Okay, so so far in this lecture of this week, we talk about Boolean data type. We talk about string during the last video. And also we talk about arrays, overview, how to define array. And we said we can define array like this. We say, for example, character data type. And we say the name of the array, for example, array, or this is, and then we say the size of the array. For example, it will be 40 character. And then this one will be hello. Hello, this is array, for example. Okay, you can define array like this, or you can define this array as integer. We can say, for example, integer. We will see about integer array. This is, we call it string. So this type of array, we call it a string. But array of integer, we can say array here. We can say, like, for example, array 1, and it's equal to 20 numbers. Okay, and in this case, we can define this array like 1, 2, 3, and so on, blah blah blah, 40 elements. Okay, we can define this, and we will talk about this one in details later. Okay, we talk about the scanf, how to read a string using scanf. Also, we talk about define, to define constant. This is during this lecture today. We talk about how to define constant using the pre-processing directive define, and also how we can define constant using const keyword. And also we talk about casting, okay, how to convert from one data type to another data type. Okay, that's it for this lecture, and we'll see you with more topics in next lecture.